Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the Lake Cities Podcast with Chris and Lucas. I am excited today to finally be joined once again by the fabulous, wonderful, the talented, the Omega himself.
Oh, my.
Chris Rest.
Well, hello.
What's going on, man?
Man, I don't know, man. It's good to see you, brother.
Good to see you, too. I mean, it's been,
Forever.
like 4 months, 5 months, something like that?
At least.
So, give me, before we get into all the crazy stuff that's happening in the Lake Cities right now, catch me up on the master's degree process, where we at with that, and when am I going to see this paper published?
Yeah.
So I can get my autograph copy and hang it on my office wall.
Yeah, man. So it is the doctorate, right? So, so praise God that's coming to an end.
Good
yeah, man, I've
grief.
been in the lab, right, just writing and crying. And
So you're about to be Dr. Respis.
Man, somewhere.
Good grief.
I'm like, who allowed that to happen?
Wow.
You know, yeah, man. So, just got the first draft of this dissertation in, and so just going through the editing process, the review and editing process, and then get that stuff finalized. And so hopefully they'll let me out, man. I told somebody I'm at the point where I'm ready to start bribing people. You know what I'm saying? What kind of Skittles you like? You know, I'll pick out all the reds for you, whatever it is.
I think there were some bands in the 80s that were famous. I think it was like Van Halen was one of them, that in their rider that they sent out to all the clubs, that the like the candy dishes could only have green M&Ms in them.
Oh my goodness.
So they had to like pick out all the other M&Ms, and like there are a couple of just legendary, most of them 80s bands that did some junk like that.
Sounds like something that
crazy.
would happen in the 80s.
What's their names? Phillips, Craig, and Dean, right? The Christian group
Okay.
had to have fresh cut roses. They had to have 4 fresh cut roses in all of their green rooms, and everybody thought that it was this weird request. Well, the guys would give a rose to their wives.
Oh.
And everything. So it was like a sweet thing, but the wives didn't know for years that, the venues were providing the fresh cut
Hey,
roses.
listen, get the cream however you can, bro.
That's it,
Let
man.
somebody else pay for it.
Make it work. So when are we going to get to see you walk?
Yeah. So next spring, the first part of May, assuming everything goes okay, they'll approve the dissertation, and then I have a presentation to make, and then after that, they should let me out.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
So I'm probably going to have to decide, am I going to go to your graduation or my wife's?
Oh, no.
That's going to be a coin flip.
Yeah, well, gonna go to hers, man. I've had enough of these. She needs somebody else to go.
I'll sit there and watch yours and Zoom hers.
And I'll save a spot on my couch for you to
perfect. I'd be so happy. So there are some cool things that are happening in the Lake Cities coming up. It is the Christmas season, which is wonderful and exciting for those of us in Christianity, in Christendom, especially in ministry, is whether you call it Christmas or Advent. What's the difference between the two of those?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Thank you.
I think it has more to do with the order, the church, so Methodist churches, certainly, I think there's a closer relationship to the Catholic faith, and maybe some of the higher orders, Episcopal, those that may be more on the continuum. Yeah,
like the liturgical churches,
absolutely.
The traditional style.
Absolutely. I think that has more to do, because, the good Baptist folk are like, oh, what?
Yeah, people are like, oh, it's Advent season. I'm like, look, the only reason I know that is because I went to a cigar shop. Scratch that. As a Baptist pastor, I had somebody else go to a cigar shop for me.
Yeah.
No, and there are like 2 or 3 different cigar manufacturers, and this has been a really cool thing I found out this year, is that a lot of the like premier cigar companies are Christian owned, and so there's one in particular, CAO, that does, and my wife would not endorse this, but it's an Advent calendar.
Okay,
And the Advent calendar is a new cigar every day for you to smoke, and during that time there's like a little devotional that goes with it, where you're like, here's the scripture you're supposed to dwell on, and all that while you're smoking your cigar. And I'm like, look, that really makes this seem very holy, but I don't know. I don't know who I'm going to be. I don't know who I'm going to be able to convince that that's the case.
Yeah.
Not everybody has that ability to get away with stuff the way that Spurgeon did, and some of those old dudes.
I hear you.
So, because it's the holiday season, we've had a lot of Christmas tree lightings and things like that that have been coming up, which has been really cool. There is a ministry that both of us have supported in the past, though, that is continuing to do some good work in the city, and that is the Lake Cities Spirit of Christmas. Now, the Lake City Spirit of Christmas, for those who don't know, they do two major. I keep saying the word it's driving me crazy because I can hear in the headphones now.
No, that's right.
But they do two major events during the year. Both of them come in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
The first is that they provide Thanksgiving meals to a lot of the families in our community, which this year our church donated bottles of oil. You guys, the last couple of years, y'all have done the turkeys, right?
We did some turkeys and things, for folks in the area.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, man, it's a privilege to view the community as an extension of us, extension of our family, and kind of share not only the joys but also some of the challenges and being a part of a solution, rather than just highlighting an issue, playing a part and trying to help resolve it. Yeah.
And that's one of the crazy things that we all get to have an opportunity to either acknowledge or ignore. The fact that there are families, especially since the beginning of the pandemic, that need assistance in ways that they didn't before.
Right.
And, I think we've been trained over probably the last 20, 25 years that government programs take care of those things, right? That this is the job. If somebody isn't able to provide for their family or a family's not able to, to make ends meet,
right,
that's the job of organizations, like SPAN and things like that. Well, they can go get their food stamps and, their SPAN card and whatever, and they'll be taken care of. But so much of what the biblical command is that we as neighbors take care of one another and help one another out. And the Spirit of Christmas is a really cool way where we can do that, first with the Thanksgiving meals, but also with the angel trees. Now, there are angel trees. I got a whole list of places here. Angelina's, Lenny Bird's Bake Shop, Corinth Veterinary Clinic, Starshine Dentistry, Lake Dallas Family Medical, Walmart, and a few others. They have 38 kids that are on this list that need to be adopted for Christmas. And one of the things that I think is so cool and unique about the Spirit of Christmas, or the Lake City Spirit of Christmas, is that different from like Toys for Tots and things like that, where they're asking for, just new cool toys for the kids.
Right.
Lake City Spirit of Christmas makes sure that the kids have things like a couple of new pairs of pants, shirts, socks, underwear, like the things that, as great as a toy is to get on Christmas Day, right? These are the necessities. I mean, we're talking about school-age kids, and it's great if they've got a new, He-Man action figure to play with, even though dudes hasn't had a haircut upgrade in 40 years, right? That even though they've got a new action figure, a new toy or something to play with, that really doesn't help them whenever they're going to school day in and day out.
Absolutely.
And continuing not just to be, in older clothes, but that's also kind of like one of these points of bullying, right? Like, I mean, how often did you get made fun of, or see kids get made fun of, probably more likely at school because of the clothes they wore,
Yeah, because they didn't have the right tag on it, or it wasn't appealing, or in some cases it had, in my generation, if you will, patches, clothing that had patches before those things were cool, and pants that were ripped up, or corduroys that were about to fray before all that stuff was hot. Yeah, man, a lot of kids got bullied and were made to feel less than, significant and important, man. And so, to your point, man, those the basic necessities, man, are key.
And as a community podcast, we do want to keep you guys focused on the stuff that is going on in the community. So, there are places where you can go get that. Also, you can check out the Spirit of Christmas Facebook page, where they have all of those needs listed and can keep you up to date on some of the stuff that's going on there. But in the spirit of the holidays, there's something I want to know. Last year, we talked about the worst Christmas songs of all time. And we agreed that Do They Even Know It's Christmas Time at All might actually top the list. And I will say that since last year, that song has only made me more incensed, right? Because some of the lyrics, especially, and you can think whatever you want to about Bono, the lead singer for U2, but his verse says that there's no snow in Africa. Are they even going to know if it's Christmas time at all? I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter what if you're that close to the equator,
Come on.
you ain't getting snow
At all.
No, there's no change. People in Australia know it's Christmas time because they have calendars, right? Like this argument that there's no snow. There hasn't been snow in Texas in Christmas in like most of my life. Yeah, we figured out it was Christmas. So that song has only become more infuriating to me over the course of the last year. But I want to put you on the spot here.
Oh my goodness!
I want to know. Give me your top 3 Christmas movies. What are your top 3 Christmas movies?
Man, okay, so Charlie Brown Christmas.
Oh yeah, classic.
Is number 1. The Christmas Story.
Okay.
Was that Billingsley?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, probably A Christmas Carol.
Okay.
Scrooge and all that.
So which version of A Christmas Carol do you like?
Is it the one in the fort? I watch all of them, even the new age crazy one that looks like a horror flick. You know, I like that. I'm like, that's crazy, right? Let me turn the channel, and I can't. I think it's forgive me, I don't know the directors, but I think it's the one in the 40s. Okay, maybe. He's got literally the stocking cap. I mean, the little cap on, and the black and white versions. Nice. I love those. What about you?
Okay, so before we get to mine, because mine's going to be in contrast to yours. I want to know, what is it about the Charlie Brown one that makes it so appealing to you?
It's the soliloquy, man. It is. What was his name? Linus.
Yep.
And his blanket and him just standing there in the midst of all of this Christmas drama, right? Mm-hmm. Just reminding everybody what Christmas is all about, and that's so relevant for me and poignant to me because the trappings, of the holiday season. We can become distracted and just kind of forget, why we're even celebrating.
Yeah, When Linus reads Luke,
oh man,
that I used to put that in, and we might do it again this year. But I used to have that in all of our candlelight services. Yeah, and that I did not know until I was an adult and started using the KJV as like a reference. Yeah, that. It does not say, and they were sore afraid. Because I was like, for certain that's. I was like, no, that's just an old way to say so afraid. Is that they were sore afraid? I love that. Yeah. Okay, so top movies for me, Charlie Brown's number 1. Okay, and it's because of Linus, but it's also because of the music. So when I was a missionary in Canada, we did the Charlie Brown Christmas special as a live action play. Oh wow! Okay. And I had to play bass. Okay. And play all that music, dude. That's a lot of music. Okay. Not only is that a lot of music, that music is no joke. Yeah. No. Like you hear it and you're like, oh yeah, this is Charlie Brown music. Kind of bob your head to it.
But it's jazz, though.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All of those guys that they gave us 2 copies of the sheet music. One was like the charted what they actually played. Okay. And then the second copy that they gave us was just like stuff where we could go and kind of improv on our own. Okay. But needed to hit key notes so that it all sounded right. The stuff that trio played, I can't imagine. Blows my mind.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
They gave the music to us 2 months ahead, and I practiced at least an hour every night preparing for it. Right. And the day of the first dress rehearsals, me, the pianist, and the drummer got together, and we were like, okay, so we've worked on this. What are we cutting out? Because there's so much that we just cannot do. Oh, just the skill of those guys was unbelievable. And now I can't, even though I love the movie, I can't watch it without my fingers just starting to hurt. Like my hands start to ache as soon as it comes on. So Charlie Brown Christmas is number 1. For me, the Muppets Christmas Carol is number 2. I love the Muppets. What? I don't know why. Like ever since I was a kid, I love the Muppets. But the Muppets Christmas Carol for me is number 2. Yeah, okay. And I think it's like that's the first time I saw Michael Caine in anything, and that dude's brilliant. Yeah. He's not just Alfred from Batman. Like the dude's got other acting chops. Right. But I really like the way that they told the story. It sticks so close, as I've come to find out in years since, like reading Lewis Carroll's A Christmas Carol, that so much of that is exactly like what he wrote. Okay. And you can kind of do it in a way where the characters are allowed to be goofy and awkward because they are. Mm-hmm. The Muppets, like the Ghost of Christmas Present, forgetting you know, what he just said to you because he's always in the moment, you know, where he's like calling him into the room. He's like, hey, come and know me better, man. And then he looks at him. He's like, hey, come here and know me better, man. He's like, you just said that. And he's like, I did? Crazy, you know. So there's some things like that the goofiness, I think, of the Muppets allowed it to be a little closer. My wife and I just watched that. So it was one of the concessions that I made in the marriage was that we put up the Christmas decorations early.
Okay.
Like, I think it's sacrilege to put them up before Thanksgiving. Like, that Friday is when they're allowed to go up. But we weren't going to be home and, like, a lot of stuff, so I capitulated.
You
and
gave
we did
in.
it. Yeah, I gave in. So I also know she gets real excited about the Christmas season. And
Me too.
I'm not, man. I love it.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. I love it. I love doing things for other people. I love the generosity that comes with the season. But the whole idea of, like, Christmas lights and all of that stuff, dude, is such a beating to me.
Oh, man.
I cannot wrap my head around it. So the second concession I made was we'll start Christmas movies early.
Okay.
Right? So, like, I was like, I say a concession, like, I took the initiative, like, hey, we're going to start watching Christmas movies now to, like, try to get myself into the spirit of it, you know?
Yeah.
And for her to just be like, oh, hey, so babe wants to watch Christmas. Like, maybe it'll earn me some brownie points.
Yeah.
I don't know if it did or not.
Get the
but
cream where you can.
yeah, that's exactly right. So I started with a Muppet Christmas Carol. She'd never seen it before.
Okay.
But great. And the third one I've got a debate on. I need you to help me settle this.
Okay.
About what should be number 3 on my list. It's either going to be Die Hard, the TNT version of Die Hard, you know, the made-for-cable television version, because that's the only holy version of Die Hard. You can't get the DVD Die Hard. That's got curse words in it. Or Batman Returns.
Wow.
So both movies set at Christmas time. I think they're Christmas movies.
Wow.
It's a tough call for me right now.
I think it would have to be the TNT Die Hard.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, maybe. You know.
All right. I've always leaned more that way, but you know.
I think you know. Yeah, like in my gut, that's the one it needs to be.
Yeah.
Because it feels more Christmassy.
Than Batman Returns?
Yeah, than Batman Returns, you know.
You don't think the Penguin and Catwoman are very Christmassy?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, because they're at a Christmas party in Die Hard, and there's a lot of red.
Yeah, there is. Well, so after rewatching Batman Returns, because I was trying to convince my wife, I was like, this is a Christmas movie. She's like, no, it isn't. And she hadn't seen any of the Tim Burton Batman, so we had to watch. So we had to watch Batman, so that I could explain to her the stuff from Batman Returns. When we watch Batman Returns, Batman is like right there in front of a Christmas tree. Cobblepot's trying to ruin Christmas for everybody. Says in the description, set at Christmas time. I'm like, maybe.
I don't know, man.
I think there's just too much cheese in it for it to take over, right? Like Danny DeVito did a great job of playing that specific character,
right?
But that's a goofy character, And as men of a certain height, under 6 foot,
that's right.
Both of us can appreciate a little man being represented, but that's not exactly the representation that I want. Somebody with a flipper for a hand talking about I'm trying to find my parents. I don't know that I need that in my life. All right, so Die Hard then takes the cake.
Man. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one, brother. And you know, I appreciate your creativity because most people will not expand their Christmas horizon beyond anything off Lifetime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so I think maybe my idea of what a good Christmas movie is probably like a good movie that I would like just set at Christmas time.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
I like that.
So that's probably my whole idea about the Christmas season probably plays into that. How come It's a Wonderful Life didn't make it into your top ones?
Listen,
Come on.
I don't know if I even saw that. I mean,
really?
Listen, I've seen excerpts of that on my way to find a movie I really want to watch. Right, I keep passing. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just not into that one. It never struck me.
So I think I've seen the whole movie, but I've never stayed awake for the whole thing. Like I could tell you the premise,
right?
But I had a grandfather who watched it every year and who loved it. And he would turn it on, or if it was on, he would turn it on.
Yeah.
And that, for me, guaranteed that I was going to have some nap time.
That's it.
It's like undisturbed. He wasn't going to ask me to go do anything out in the yard. There wasn't any work on the farm I was going to have to do.
Right.
It's a Wonderful Life came on. He was going to start watching it, and then I had I had nap time. Everybody talks about how great Jimmy Stewart was, but
no,
sure, maybe.
Yeah, he might have been. He might have been amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll never know.
I do have an interesting little nugget about that dude, though. So Jimmy Stewart, the guy that wrote that and directed that movie,
Okay.
Dr. Seuss, and Stan Lee, the guy that started Marvel Comics,
Right.
those four dudes all worked together to create the info pamphlets for the armed forces during World War II.
Really?
Yeah, so if you go back and you look at some of that stuff, like a lot of the World War II advertisements and things about like, hey, we want you and all that, the creative team that's behind that is the guy that started Marvel Comics, the guy that wrote and directed It's a Wonderful Life, Jimmy Stewart,
Wow.
and Dr. Seuss. So it's so crazy. There's
crazy.
one pamphlet in particular that they made on the dangers of promiscuity in foreign ports.
Okay.
If kids are listening, we want to keep it that vague.
Absolutely.
But if you can find one of those pamphlets, it's like a 5-figure seller.
Oh my goodness.
Right now, because Stan Lee, so the guy that created Marvel Comics, wrote it and writes about all of these interesting things you might acquire,
Sure,
as though they're supervillains.
Oh my
right?
goodness.
And Dr. Seuss illustrated all of them.
Oh my
and
goodness.
it's one of the most bizarre and hysterical things I've ever seen. But all four of those guys ended up being just huge. influencers.
Absolutely.
And really shaped big pieces of culture. But
Sure.
those four dudes worked together for a lot of the wartime advertisements and information and
That's
stuff.
good stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
It is.
Okay, so It's a Wonderful Life. Neither one of us has seen it.
Nope.
You can call it a classic if you want to. All that means is that it's old.
That's it.
Yeah. So, what about Christmas Vacation? Is that rank for you at all? Does that move the needle for you?
I like that entire series just because I've got a sick sense of humor anyway.
Right.
But it's not one of those that I've seen like multiple times. Like, I see it and I kind of keep it moving.
Right.
So it's okay. What about you?
My brother loves it.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why. I'm just not a huge Chevy Chase fan.
Yeah, I like that stuff though. It's just silly to me.
It is silly, right? And it's got its spot now. Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I want to make sure I say her name right. When she plays like the super hoity-toity modern neighbor, and their house just keeps getting destroyed, like I think that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Within that, and there's some stuff within that movie that I really dig, But there's a lot of it that like I don't know. I think I've seen it.
Yeah, right.
And every few years, if I see it, I'm like, oh, you know what? This is not bad.
Yeah.
Right. But I've got like I said, my youngest brother watches it every year.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I
can't
do it every year.
Like I said, the three that I mentioned are the ones that I will watch every year.
Okay. And
the other stuff is just filling in the gap. Like if I'm just, scrolling and it pops up, I might watch some of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but the others are must watch.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then too, this has nothing to do with Christmas, but the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
It comes on.
It feels so good during Christmas time, too.
That's it. That's 9 solid hours.
Well, okay, so do you have if we're going to nerd out for a second, do you have the extended editions?
I do.
Okay, so that's not 9 solid hours, bro. That is like nearly 12 solid hours, and it's so good.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things at the beginning of our marriage that I made my wife watch.
Okay. Ooh.
She had never seen Lord of the Rings before, and we started reading The Hobbit.
Okay.
And so it's very cool. It's very upbeat, and it's really fast paced. Well, The Lord of the Rings doesn't move at nearly the pace that The Hobbit does.
No.
So we watched the first Lord of the Rings movie, and we're watching the extended edition. We get about a third of the way through it, and she's like, "Is it like this the whole time?" So I had to show her the theatrical version first, and she was like, "Okay, that was better, but it was still kind of slow." She liked the second and third movie, and now that we go back, she appreciates the first one.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for her having seen the second and third one, she's out. She's out on the first one. It's too slow. But yeah, that one. I mean, all those movies came out around Christmas, right? So they feel kind of Christmassy.
Yeah.
Yeah. One movie that's coming to the box office here soon that does not feel Christmassy at me at all.
To you at all.
There we go. the last, or what's supposed to be the last installment of the Matrix movies.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that? It's a December 22nd release. That doesn't make any sense to be a Christmas film.
No, I saw the highlights. Charmaine and I have been to the movies here, especially after I got that paper done. We were like, let's catch up on everything.
Right.
So we went 3 times in 7 days going to the movies. So I saw the trailers. And, oddly enough, I wasn't that big of a Matrix fan anyway.
Really?
I saw it.
The first one didn't, intrigue you at all?
No.
You don't believe that, what Dr. Green posited, that we live in a systematized universe, and the only thing that keeps us safe is not showing people that we know that we're in a computer program?
No.
Okay, cool.
No. The pills, I'm like, is that a vitamin? What is that? You know what I mean? I need some ginkgo. What is that?
I can relate to that.
You know what I'm saying? So, so it wasn't that big a deal. And so, me watching this, what is it, Matrix? It's not Resurrection.
No, maybe. But man, I don't even know what they're calling it.
Yeah, whatever it is.
I think it is Resurrection because it was Reloaded and then Revolution, and I think this is Resurrection.
Something that, man. I definitely wasn't thinking Christmas. I think they're just trying to smash and grab right about now since people are.
And I wonder how many of these movies have been moved around, their release dates have been moved around.
Absolutely.
Because one that I'm super interested in that's coming out is the Kingsman movie. Have you seen that?
No, I saw the first one, but I saw the trailer. Yeah, I'm interested in that too.
Okay, so the reason that I'm super interested in that is because it features maybe my favorite historical character outside of Jesus of all time, and that is Rasputin.
Okay.
So if you don't know about him, just Google Gregory Rasputin and prepare to just send yourself down the White Rabbit's trail for the next. It could be hour, half hour, or it could be like mine was, a good 2.5 years of just doing research on this sort of enigmatic character that ushered in part of the downfall of Russia and allowed the Bolsheviks to take over because he caused all this dissension between the Tsar and the Tsarina. And it's fascinating. The fact that he's the bad guy. I'm having to hold back.
Yeah, I'm looking at your eyes. That twinkle in your eye, man, is winsome, brother. It's winsome.
Yeah, I didn't care about any of that stuff until I started. So, do you ever listen to Dan Carlin, to his podcast, Hardcore History? So he's got a 6-part series called Blueprint for Armageddon.
Oh, wow.
And it's 27 hours on the history of World War I. So he's a journalist and just loves history, and he started to do this podcast several years ago. And he releases 1 or 2 a year, right? But they're 3 or 4 hours long.
Okay.
And then the rest of the time in between, he's researching for the next episode that he's going to drop.
Wow.
So it's 3 to 6 months of research, and then he drops a 2 to 4 hour podcast, and then it's another 3 to 6 months of research, and then, again.
Wow.
I think the longest one that he dropped with a Blueprint for Armageddon was 5.5 hours long.
Wow.
But it is absolutely everything about World War I that you didn't learn in a history class.
Okay.
It's in there.
Wow.
And so he goes really in-depth into Rasputin. That's what really got me kind of started in that.
Okay.
And then seeing him come in the Kingsman, I was like, babe, we're going to see that. She's like, well, can we go see West Side Story? I'm like, who cares about West Side Story, right? If Steven Spielberg wants to butcher a musical, he can do that without us.
Without us, right.
I know
that's right.
The other one that's coming out in theaters, and I think it comes out next week, which is nearly sold out in all the DFW theaters right now, is the Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, yeah.
So you interested in that at all?
Yeah. You know what? I haven't been keeping up with the Spider-Man stuff.
I'll loan you the DVDs.
I'm behind. I'm a little behind. But it looks like the kind of movie I want to go see.
So there's supposed to be, according to all the rumor websites, I have way too much time on my hands, right? Because as a pastor, all I do is hang out on a beanbag, eating Cheetos all day, scrolling through Reddit,
eating
trying to find
right? Yeah, that's trying to find
green M&Ms. Trying to figure out what's happening on Spider-Man on the Reddit pages. But there is a theory out there that all of the multiverses are going to come crashing in, right? And you're going to get Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man, you're going to get Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, potentially Miles Morales from the Spider-Verse movie, which would introduce the first African-American Spider-Man. And the big question that Reddit is asking that I need you to answer here for me is, are we going to get a Christmas gift? And are we going to get Peter Porker? Are we going to see Spider-Ham make his debut in the MCU?
Y'all, please forgive my friend for presenting that question.
I just thought I'd suck you in with the setup, because he was in Into the Spider-Verse. But if he does make it, I promise you, I will get you some Peter Porker gear. You'll have some Spider-Pig gear. It'll be so awesome.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Well, hey, everybody, thanks for listening to another edition of the Lake City Podcast.
Yes.
Make sure, as we get back on pace of doing these, to check out the Lake City Spirit of Christmas Facebook page.
Yes.
You can donate directly to the organization, where they can help get some stuff done for some kiddos that otherwise might not have some of the basic needs that children have met. And also, you can check out Angelina's Mexican Restaurant, Lenny Bird Bake Shop, Corinth Veterinary Clinic, Starshine Dentistry, Lake Dallas Family Medical, and Walmart in Hickory Creek to check out their trees where you can adopt kids or just buy some individual gifts that'll make sure that they go to those kids. Dude, it's so good to have you back, man.
It's good to be back. Good to see you. I missed you too, bro.
Hugs and kisses.
Yep. Well,
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
XOXO.
Get all that fist bump.
Chris and Lucas want to thank you for listening to the Lake Cities Podcast, a service provided by FBC Lake Dallas and Antioch Christian Fellowship. If you have a topic you would like for Chris and Lucas to discuss, email them at thelakecitiespodcast@gmail.com. Make sure you give us a review and click on the subscribe button to get the latest episodes each week.